Nameless Don Heng, Chrysosaur who guards the Earth's core flame, steadies the world as it falls, and guides all life across the land to a new home beyond. All rivers flow to the sea, mountains echo in chorus, and the path of permanence shall stretch beyond horizons. From the frosty plains of Eurillo 6 to the towering mountains of Amphorius, this Nameless from the Xianzhou Fu had always been the Trailblazer's trusty companion. On this episode, let's take a renewed look at this good friend of the Trailblazing journey, Don Heng Permansor Terrae! Don Heng is an old friend of this show. He's been here plenty of times as either a guest or the main attraction. This time, we specifically invited his good friend March 7th, who has journeyed with him all this time to take a look at his new form. Huh? Oh, you're in a new form today as well.
Hello, Mr. Owlbert.
Mr. Wait, shouldn't you Oh.
That's not important, Mr. Owlbert. The viewers are all brimming with anticipation for Don Heng's new powers. Let's check him out.
Don Heng Permansor Terrae is a physical character on the path of preservation. When that sign of Long inherits the Earth Coreflame, the power permanence within his body will shield all life at Amphorius, carrying them into the distant sea of stars and into the boundless unknown. Using his basic attack, Don Heng Permansor Terrae deals physical damage based on his attack to one designated enemy. His skill designates one ally as his bondmate and also provides a shield to all allies for some turns.
Don Heng also acts like a guard in March's memories and has always protected the Express crew.
Protection? Preservation? I can refer him to the IPC. When the ally target becomes the bondmate, Don Heng Permansor Terrae will summon Soul Dragon for them. When Soul Dragon takes action, it dispels debuffs from all allies and provides a shield that lasts for some turns. By the way, the shield effect provided by Don Heng Permansor Terrae and Soul Dragon can be stacked to a certain limit.
And there's still more benefits to becoming his bondmate.
Indeed! Certain traces will increase the attack of the bondmate ally target. Using its ultimate, Don Heng Permansor Terrae deals damage to all enemies and provides a shield to all allies for some turns. The ultimate will also enhance Soul Dragon, and Soul Dragon will launch a follow-up attack when it takes action, dealing physical damage to all enemies and additional damage of the bondmate's type. After unlocking certain traces, Soul Dragon provides a shield to the ally with the lowest current shield. When the enhanced Soul Dragon acts, it deals extra additional damage of the bondmate's type based on their attack to the enemy with the highest current HP. Using his technique, Don Heng Permansor Terrae gains bondmate and dazes enemies within a certain range. Dazed enemies will not actively attack allies. When switching active characters, bondmate transfers to the currently active character. At the start of the next battle, he will automatically use his skill on the bondmate character without consuming any skill points.
He's the glue of the group.
Everyone can see that Don Heng is very reliable. In summary, as a character following the path of preservation, Don Heng Permansor Terrae has many ways to provide shields to all allies in order to mitigate damage. At the same time, Soul Dragon also brings different buffs. Not only can he ensure allied characters' survivability in combat, but he also boosts the bondmate character's damage.
March did mention that his hidden powers are more than holding his breath underwater for 100 minutes.
You remember a show from that long ago. No wonder your remembrance.
I have a memory of Don Heng fighting together with his friends. Want to analyze that, Mr. Owlbert?
It's rare to see a guest bring her own content. Let me take a look. After allies use their techniques and enter combat, Don Heng Permansor Terrae uses his skill to make finding the bondmate while shielding all allies. Thanks to certain traces, Don Heng Permansor Terrae acts first and uses his skill on finding again to stack the shield. Meanwhile, Don Heng Permansor Terrae's energy has fully charged, so he uses his ultimate enhances Soul Dragon while stacking shields for all allies. The enemy's attacks can barely be felt against its mighty shield. Nah, they just give fighting core flames. Soul Dragon attacks, replenishing shields again while defeating the enemy. Sunday then uses his skill. Wait, could this be?
Yep, that's Don Heng's hidden power.
Ooh, goodness! So Soul Dragon can be considered the bondmate summon. Then Soniski would move both Finan and Soul Dragon up the action order, and as the bondmate, Finan would gain Sunday's additional damage boost. That's amazing! Finan uses his ultimate to tear up in the skies. With Soul Dragon's enhanced attack following up, the enemies are reduced to dust. With Heng Permansor Terrae on our side. And that's a wrap. Wow, this episode sure was easy to record. Thanks again, Miss Evernight.
Then I won't trouble you anymore. You might need to do overtime soon.
Overtime? Why do I need to do that when the show's already done?
Listen.
Huh? What happened? I should have full day of work and finished the episode. Was it all a dream? I have to go to work in my dreams and in reality. And this sucks.